Welcome back to the Ben Mulroney Show. Thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday, August 5th. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your ears. Appreciate your opinions. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you find us. All right, well, we're living in a world where new tariffs have been applied to the Canadian economy from Donald Trump and his administration ever since we were not able to reach a new trade and security deal by the August 1st deadline imposed by Donald Trump. And what that means is still unclear. You know, we have the NAFTA 2.0 or CUSMA or whatever you want, USMCA, which applies to the vast majority of the goods across Canada that go into the United States. But we have more tariffs on our economy now than we did before the election. And so, look, you can look at this any way you want. But one thing is for sure, and I will not take this away from our government, is they are working very, very hard. I can't imagine that a day or an hour doesn't go by that someone like Dominic LeBlanc, the minister in charge of the Canada-U.S. file, is not deep in conversation, deep in negotiations. He is probably earning his paycheck and then some. And over the weekend, he was on CBS's Face the Nation, and here's what he had to say.
The conversations have been informative, constructive, and cordial. I would expect the Prime Minister will have a conversation with the President over the next number of days. That's certainly my plan, again, with Secretary Lutnick, recognizing that we think there is an option of striking a deal that will bring down some of these tariffs, provide greater certainty to investment.
Yeah, look, it must be exceptionally frustrating to negotiate with this Trump administration, where you don't know what they are going to complain about from one moment to another. It's either fentanyl, or it's the border, or it's how unfair we are, or it's our dairy sector, or our softwood, or it's national security, and that's why they've tariffed our steel and aluminum. It's always something. And so I do not put that on Mark Carney and his team. And there are people who are looking at the fact that we don't have a deal as yet again a proof that Mark Carney did the right thing. Because I guess to those people, it was either no deal or a bad deal. Except that's not what we were promised. We were promised that Mark Carney and his resume that was leaps and bounds more significant than his competitor, Pierre Poilievre, that was what was going to be the difference in these negotiations. That, and by the way, nobody, listen, we can all sit here and talk about how cuckoo it must be to negotiate with Donald Trump. You know, the only people in Canada who have ever negotiated with Donald Trump is the Liberal Party of Canada. They were in government the last time he was president. They are in government now. So they have institutional knowledge of how he and his people operate. So of all the teams, NDP, Liberal, Conservative, they are the ones with the knowledge on how to negotiate best with him. Then you put Mark Carney at the top of that team. We were told that that was why we were going to elect him, because he was going to lead us to a deal. He was going to lead us to the best possible outcome with Donald Trump. And now we're being told no outcome is the best possible outcome. Well, you know who else could have got no outcome? Me. I could have done that. You could have done that. My producers could have done that. Pierre Poilievre certainly could have done that. That is not what Mark Carney came into politics to do. He came into politics to navigate us through this. And yes, I concede that I would rather hold off and we should never sign something that is not to our benefit. But Mark Carney, we were told, was a breed apart. He was built different. He was built to do this one thing. And now he hasn't done that one thing. And his acolytes are saying the fact that he didn't do that one thing is why we brought him in. That's the exact opposite reason as to why we brought him in. I'm not playing that shell game. The receipts are there. Maybe we'll find them tomorrow. Maybe we'll find them, because I'm getting sick and tired of this bait and switch where everything, failure or success, is demonstration that the Liberal Party are the responsible stewards in this moment. Again, I want to stress again, I appreciate how hard the job is that they have. I do not wish I had it. I'm glad somebody else is doing it. And they do have some great people on that team. Dominic LeBlanc being one of them. Mark Carney being one of them. But he's not doing what he said he was going to do. And he's not doing what he was elected to do. And I'm not going to sit here and let people say, oh, well, the fact that he's not doing the thing that he was elected to do is proof that he's doing what he was elected to do. That's nonsense. And I don't like being talked to like I'm an idiot. And again, he did not shy away. Mark Carney did not shy away when Christiane Amanpour on CNN called him the Trump whisperer. And you'll remember during that first meeting with Donald Trump in the Oval Office, the Canadian press could not get enough of how masterful Mark Carney was in that moment to speak to Donald Trump in a way, in his language, flatter him just enough, communicate with him in just the right way, where Canada posited itself as the independent nation we were, all while trying to create a rapprochement and create a language that we could both speak. That was the takeaway. It was genius. It was a masterstroke. It was negotiation 101. Nobody had done it better. So I'll say again what I said last week. Explain to me why, in this moment, it was so important for Canada to put forth a promise to recognize a Palestinian state in short order, when we know Donald Trump does not see the world that way. Now, as an independent nation, are we allowed to do things like that? Of course we are. But I don't believe the facts on the ground justify that position. And I certainly know that Donald Trump now has another card he can play as to why we are so difficult to negotiate with. As a matter of fact, he said as much. Wow, Canada just announced that it's backing statehood for Palestine. That will make it very hard for us to make a trade deal with them. Oh, Canada. Now, I'll go back to what I said before. You never know what's going to set him off. And if anybody knows that, even better than me, it's the Liberal Party of Canada, because they have negotiated with him before. So why, as you are working towards a trade deal that you have said is the reason you came back, why would you do this? Why would you give him a card to play? Why would you give him ammunition to use against us? Especially because, let's be honest, there isn't a single expert in this country that isn't politically motivated, good faith analysts. There isn't one of them who's going to tell you that this promise to recognize a Palestinian state in the situation it's in now is a good idea. It's performative. It's possibly crassly political. I don't want to ascribe that motivation, but however, there are polls that are suggesting that a lot of Canadians are behind Mark Carney's push to recognize a Palestinian state. So that's telling me that, could this have been a political vote grab? I don't know. But it could be. It could be. But if your job, if you say you are singularly laser focused on getting a deal, then this diplomatic foray into the Palestinian recognition, one, it took your eye off the ball. That's proof you weren't laser focused. And two, it does not jive with that first meeting of speaking a language that Donald Trump understands. It shows him that you're more Macron than you are an ally in North America, that you are more European than you are North American. And I don't know that that's how you want to be seen, as you're trying to show him that we work best together. Thanks so much for watching the show. Now, if you enjoyed what you saw, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode of The Ben Mulroney Show.